do what you say you're going to do. They have the system, they have the scripts, they have the marketing materials, they have a great deal, they have a program to handle all fund administration, but they don't actually do what they say. They don't follow up after the phone calls. They don't keep the relationship warm. And that will end these relationships. How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to the show. Today, I'm going to talk about how we've been able to get other people to raise money for our deals. We're about to close on a $10.4 million property. A lot of the capital that is being raised through other people. And this has been a massive strategy for us at Asym Capital. So I'm going to break down the steps right now. Let's start with number one, be prepared. So in all the things that we're going to talk about in this video, I want to make sure that you're thinking about this as a massive unlock in your business. As such, prepare for these conversations. I want you to have all the resources, the scripts, the email templates, everything, the entire structure clearly identified, already prepared, and in your mind so that you can explain it clearly. So that when you get into a conversation, even if you didn't know they might potentially raise money for your deal, you already have that stuff ready to go. As an example, if you're talking to an investor and they decide to invest in your deal and they express interest in potentially raising money from their friends and family, you can start to reveal the fact that you already have a system, processes, emails, scripts for them, and you can go down that path accordingly and with confidence because you already created it before the call. So be prepared because these relationships are extremely high leverage and great to help scale your capital raising business. Number two, make it a no-brainer. So when Tyler and I go into a capital raise and we want to encourage other people to raise money for our deals, one of the things we do is we think about ways to increase the upside of them doing this, make it easy for them, and also reduce the risk. As an example, a lot of people don't want to do a lot of work. They just want to make more money. So we just try to make it as easy for them as possible. We have a company that handles all the administrative work that they have to do. We provide them all the marketing, like the emails, the PowerPoint presentation in PowerPoint form so they can edit it to add in their branding. We'll also offer to do a webinar with them where we highlight them as a partner, making them look good to their audience. And we also have a way to give them all this information and also get to the point where they're starting to get investment reservations prior to spending any money, especially on legal. That's because we have a provider that can get them set up really, really quickly. And so because of this, they don't need to spend a bunch of money on LLC creation, document drafting, etc., until they already know with confidence that investment commitments are coming in, they're going to be able to be successful. Number three, offer support. So we don't just give them access to emails and a PowerPoint presentation and explain the economics and say, okay, good, I'll see you in a month. No, we offer to do everything with them, especially when they're getting started. So what does that mean? We send them a recorded webinar so that they can review it in preparation for us recording a webinar with them, so that we know at that point they've prepared for that webinar by listening to an existing webinar. They've then heard it again because we've done the presentation with them. At that point, they're trained up on the deal. Then we offer to even do calls with their investors if they're interested to add additional support. And we also say, if you get stuck on any calls with any investors, don't hesitate to reach out to us. Here's our cell phone number. Here's our email address. We are partners with you on this capital raise. Don't hesitate to use us. All right, number four, put your weight on the scales. Now, in these conversations with people that might raise money for you, you will come across a lot of things that sound like objections that are really people being hesitant to take action. And it's not that they don't like the deal, especially if they do like the deal, and especially if they're already committed to invest in the deal. There's a couple of things that will come up that really just delay them actually getting started. And I totally get it, but we want to make this such a no-brainer that if they like the deal, assuming they like the deal, trying to raise capital for it should be a total no-brainer. They should totally want to take you up onto it. So let's talk about how we do this. Generally speaking, just don't settle for delays that don't really make sense. If someone doesn't like the deal, that's very different. I don't want you to convince them to invest with you or convince them to raise money for you. But if they do like the deal, and you can even use this, if you do like the deal, we try to make this such a no-brainer that it'd be silly for you to say no. And we talk about how we remove the risk, how they don't have to incur capital up front. And when they start saying things like, well, you know, I've never done this before, so I don't really know how my audience is going to react. So I can't really commit to anything. We say, great, no problem. In fact, we work with a lot of capital raisers that have never raised money before, and we have a whole system for helping them do that. Here's an example, blah, 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 and you kind of outline your system. Here's another example. You know what? I like to see how this deal performs, and maybe I'll do it on the next one. Well, we say, guess what? It's going to be a long time until you see how this deal performs. This is a 5-year hold period, and you probably don't want to wait 5 years to get this started, do you? So maybe it'd be a better idea for you to start getting momentum now, and you can capitalize on it once this deal and other deals start to sell. Sound good? Cool. Here's another one. You know what? I don't know if my audience really thinks of me as a capital raiser. So what I'm probably going to do is blank, insert the delay thing. Here's kind of what we say about this. Hey, listen, Mr. Potential Capital Raiser, it might be the case that your friends and family don't think of you as a capital raiser, but you know when the worst time to try to raise money is? When you really need the money. The best time to do it is when you have a situation like this, where when you work with us at Asym Capital, our deal is going to get funded no matter what. And so we have no challenge with you coming up as a total goose egg on this potential capital raise because it's no sweat off our back. So how about this? We'll give you the email templates and you can send it out and just use it as an example deal, and we expect you to raise zero money. That way, you already get the clock started for people starting to think of you in this way, that you are a capital raiser, a real estate entrepreneur. My friends, what I just outlined is a massive unlock. We're completely removing the risk. We're saying we expect you to raise $0 and just use it as an example. This is the ultimate end to all those delay tactics, because at the end of the day, they're not doing it because they don't like the deal. They clearly do, or they wouldn't be having this level of conversation with you. They're doing it because they don't want to be embarrassed. They don't want to raise $0 and come to you and say, I raised $0. So what we do is we say, how about we just say you're going to raise $0? We'll use it as an example, but you still get to go through the process and you'll learn a lot along the way because you're working with us directly. That to me is a total no-brainer. So get out there and try it. Now, the last tip I'll give you is do what you say you're going to do. So if you say you have a system, if you say you have scripts, if you say you have an email, if you say you have a PowerPoint, not only do you have to say you're going to give it to them, you actually have to do it. And I know this seems like a silly tip because we're talking about raising and potentially making millions of dollars, but I have seen people fall short in this way only, meaning that they have the system, they have the scripts, they have the marketing materials, they have a great deal, they have a program to handle all fund administration, but they don't actually do what they say. They don't follow up after the phone calls. They don't keep the relationship warm. And that will end these relationships. It's a high nurture, but a very high leverage way to participate in the capital raising space, build these relationships, pour into these people. Many of them will underdeliver and do nothing, but some of them will give you millions and tens of millions of dollars. And this is exactly how I started my career, by first under-delivering over and over again, eventually not quitting, figuring it out, and I've raised money, millions, tens of millions of dollars in some case, for other people's deals. Hope that helps.